Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, welcome. And if it's not your first time here, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about failure and why it's not the worst thing in the world. I'm just going to go ahead and preface this by saying that yes, I quit my job again. I was at this job for about 1 year. I started somewhere July 2022, and by July 12th, 2023, I was wrapping up my final day at work. For the longest time before I quit my job, I kind of realized that it was not the best role for me. Like, I think a couple of months into the job, I realized that it was not the best role for me, and regardless of how much time I had taken, to think about the job, to prepare for it, it just did not end up being what was best for me or what is best for me at this time. But because for some reason my mind attributed dumping jobs that quickly to be failure, or like to just not being like to just not knowing what I was doing, I spent a lot of time trying to make it work, trying to make the job work. And I'm just going to be very, very honest, I don't think I was doing a great job at it at all. Like all the patching and managing and sewing together, like I was just really striving so hard to not have to quit, to just try to make it to my 1 year anniversary, and if possible past that. It just was not working. And after so much time like grappling with it, and like so much time spent crying, feeling like I did not know what I was doing, so much time spent like questioning myself and questioning like my self-worth, my value, it was just really a lot. And so after months and months and months of being unhappy, demotivated, I finally decided in July to let it go. But it took a long time, a long journey of like self rediscovery, and trying to figure out like what exactly I was doing before I made that decision. Almost 3 months now since I quit my job. I've been fun employed, as the cool kids are calling it. I went to Nigeria to see my parents, to spend time with my siblings. I've been spending time with my friends. I've been working part-time and just doing a few things, bits and bobs here. And I kind of finally feel okay to talk about like the journey to figuring out that it was okay to quit my job, and it wasn't the worst thing in the world to not be great at something that you really, really wanted to be great at. The first thing that I really, really had to learn was that not everything will work out as I envisioned or as I intended it to. I think I'm a bit of a control freak, and I'm also a perfectionist. So if I see something in my mind and it does not go exactly how I've seen it in my mind, I'll just feel like it did not go well. That's literally how I navigate things. So it really took a while for me to come to terms with the fact that not everything will go exactly as I've envisioned. And like regardless of that, it's still okay to take on like opportunities and to take advantage of the opportunities that have been presented to you. It's okay for you to still allow some space for things to go how they will go. And when they are going however they will go, it's also okay for you to reassess and decide that, okay, I thought this thing will go this way, it didn't end up going this way, but it's fine, it's okay, I tried it, probably not for me, or yeah, this thing is for me. And then take the learnings and lesson from it, and then move on to something else. Okay, so the next thing that I had to learn was that I'm not my job, and failing at one job does not make me like a failure, or does not mean that I've completely failed in life. And I think this is something that should go without saying, right? But a lot of times it does not, and specifically in my case, it did not. A lot of times, like when you come like and you introduce yourself to people or something like that, the first thing they will ask is, what are you doing, what do you do for work? And so we attach a lot of like importance to like our jobs outside of being able to feed. It's a status symbol as well. And in my head I thought that I don't really subscribe to it completely, and it's not really something that I would struggle with. But come to find out that it was. So I had to like really remind myself that I'm not my job, and simply because I've made a decision and I've given something a chance and it did not end up panning out, and that job was just not, I was just not good at that job, does not mean that completely and entirely in this whole world that I'm not good at anything or something like that. And I don't really understand even why my mind was thinking that way, but it really took a while, and constantly talking to my friends and them reminding me like, oh, like my friend time I'll be like, oh Jen, you're really really good at your job, like every time I watch you, and like consistently thinking of those things and remembering those things really helps me to remember that simply because I'm not doing as great or having the type of impact that I wanted to have in this role does not mean that, you know, I've failed or like I'm a failure or anything like that. Another thing that I learned, or that I had to learn, was that I needed to give myself more grace. So I think it's very easy for us to extend grace to like our friends, our like family members, random strangers on the internet, random strangers that you meet outside, our siblings, our parents. But it can be quite tricky to extend that same level of grace to yourself. Like if someone said, oh, I was at this job for 3 months and then I left, you wouldn't think about it and be like, ah, this person crazy. Like you would not be that way towards them. But for some reason in my head, I just was not able to wrap my head around the fact that I was at a job for barely 1 year and I was already like desperately thinking of leaving. It was just too much for me. Like I just kept thinking like, oh, then why did I take away the opportunity that could have gone to somebody else? Why did I even bother? Why did I this? Why did I that? What am I going to do after leaving the job? Like I just was not able to give myself grace and like just extend that level of like understanding towards myself that, okay, like you gave it your best shot, you put your best foot forward, but it's not your fault. And the moment I was able to give myself that grace and be understanding towards myself, the way that I was feeling and the way that I needed to let go of that job, it just made it easier for me to be like, okay, Jen Francis, it's okay to quit. Letting go is not something that I'm very very good at. Like I tend to hold on to things, I tend to cling to things, and I really really don't like changes. Like it takes me a while to be fine with changes, and I think that's one of the things that really forced me or really made me to stay for so long doing patchwork. And also because I'm a very anxious person and I'm always worrying about like the future. Like I'm one of those people that I like to know that like at least 6 months down the line I'll have something to eat. So if I feel like I don't have something to eat 6 months down the line, I'll most likely not be able to take a leave. I'll wait. So it took me a while. She's like, okay, it's fine, it's now time to let things go. Can you imagine like managing at something for at least 6 months and still planning and intending to continue to manage at least for a foreseeable future, like just simply because you're being paralyzed by your inability to let go of things? So I think realizing that it's okay to let things go, it's okay to let go of things, and it's really not the end of the world to just leave something to go, was, I think that was like the tipping and the final level, or the final thing that I had to realize before I was able to like type up that resignation letter and actually go ahead with sending it. Also the point where I was like, oh, what if I'm making a mistake? I had to reconcile with, it's okay to let things go even if it's a mistake. And once I was able to cross that threshold, it just made everything easy. Okay, so if you're currently like trying to like make a change or make a decision that feels so big, I think one thing that I would like for you to take away from this video is that it's really okay. Like it's okay if you're grappling with like failing at like work, at school, relationship, friendship, whatever the case may be. Like it's really okay. I think the only thing that we really owe to ourselves is to always give things our best shot. But once we've done that, it's okay to like let them go. It's okay to make the next best decision for yourself, and it's okay to make peace with failing at something, especially something that you really, really wanted to be good at, you really wanted to be perfect at. It's okay for things not to work out exactly how you want them to. It's really, really just okay. And like, if you take anything away from this video, let it really be that it's okay, and it will always like be okay. I will see you very soon on my next video. Mwah.